How's it going, everybody? GetWrecked57 here. And in today's video, I'm going to be taking you through the new character Deadpool in Marvel Rivals, all his abilities, his passive, his ultimate. And I'm also going to be taking you through the best upgrade path for each one of his roles. So, I have to say, after playing this character for a good amount of time already, I've played him a lot already in the new update. I have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the most complex hero ever released into Marvel Rivals. And that's saying a lot, considering, as you all know, I'm a melee character specialist. When it comes to DPS, I really like melee characters. I play like Spider-Man, Blade, Wolverine, Black Panther, those kind of characters. And Spider-Man has like 73 animation cancels, and I still think Deadpool is more complex than Spider-Man. So, yeah, I'm gonna try and do my absolute best to explain this in as much detail as possible. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start by explaining to you the characteristics that every Deadpool has. Something that each role of Deadpool has access to. So let's start with the most important part of Deadpool's kit. This is the absolute most important part, is the upgrade system. The way this works is that your abilities start out in a weaker form, meaning that your abilities are not at maximum capacity when you first start playing the character. You get, basically, as you get more experience, and I'll explain to you how you get experience just after this, but as you get more experience, you gain the ability to upgrade all of your abilities, your ultimate, and your weapons, right? So, how do you get XP? XP is gained first off, XP is gained naturally, right? As your character just walks around, just by walking around, you'll be passively gaining experience points, right? So you could like not do anything and eventually get an upgrade, but it takes a long time to do it passively. The other way to get it, XP, is by hitting abilities, doing damage, right? Getting kills and stuff like that. But the absolute most important way and the best way to get experience is by taking pictures with bodies that you have final kills on. So if you take a look here, I'm going to kill the bot, and you see range pick or close pick. It doesn't matter which one you do, but you click F and you take a picture with the body, right? Now, when you do that, it will give you a very large percentage of your bar towards your next upgrade. However, there is a stipulation to that in you have to be the one that final killed them. Your face has to come up in the chat as the person who got the kill. Otherwise, you're not allowed to take a picture, right? So here, let me show you. So I'll do damage to this guy. It got finaled. I can't take a picture of the body because my bot killed it, not me, right? Second off, you actually have to take it's not where the person died. You actually have to find their dead body to take a picture, right? So that's the main way of gaining experience. The second thing that is the same across all Deadpool's roles is his passive healing factor. Healing factor is not like Wolverine's, like you might think. It acts differently on Deadpool. So I've tested this out, and I know how it works now. So this passive works in two different ways, right? So like Wolverine's passive, once the passive has been used, it goes on a cooldown until you can use it, until it's able to be used again. The cooldown is 30 seconds. However, the passive works in two different ways. One way triggers the cooldown, and one way doesn't trigger the cooldown. It's just a general help. So the first way it works is I'm gonna use this Deadpool as an example. Is I'm gonna shoot him 3 times. Not that much damage. Now I'm going to leave him. You'll notice after a while, after a little bit, his health just naturally regenerated. Now that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen with any other characters. That's kind of that's Deadpool's passive doing that for him, right? So that's one of the parts of the passive is if you're out of combat and you're and you've taken some damage, if you're out of combat for a good amount of time, it'll start naturally healing you. This is good for if you're playing flank pool and you decide to flank, you deal a bunch of damage, right? You take damage, and let's say that you can't get back to your team or find a health pack. If you just hide in a corner, your character's passive will naturally regenerate your health back up to full. And that doesn't use the passive. Basically, the cooldown for the passive will not go down. That's just a general benefit. Now, the cooldown for the passive comes when you take heavy damage all at once. So I'm going to watch. I'm going to deal really fast heavy damage to this Deadpool. And now look at his HP. So he took really heavy damage in a fast burst. So your passive triggers when you take fast bursts of damage. So as you saw, I hit multiple headshots in a row on him, and you saw how instead of him having to be out of combat for a while, it triggered instantly, and the healing was more aggressive. So basically what happens with Deadpool, his passive, when you take large amounts of damage in a burst format, it will trigger your passive ability, which gives you a burst of healing, and it might give you damage resistance. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I know it gives you a fast burst of healing. However, if you get to that point where your passive has to trigger in that way, that will use the cooldown for your passive, and you'll have to wait another 30 seconds before you can get that again. But every Deadpool has that. The support pool, DPS pool, and tank pool all have that passive. So now I'm going to get into the role-specific abilities and what they do, and suggested upgrade paths. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to be starting with support pool. I'm also going to tell you guys, in my opinion, what the strongest Deadpool role is, as in which Deadpool is the strongest role for role. So we're starting off with support pool here. I'll be honest, support pool is the Deadpool I have the least experience with. So I haven't played much support pool, so you'll have to excuse me if I get some of this wrong, because it's not the one I have the most experience with. I'm more experienced with the tank and DPS pool. But anyway, so let's start off with the basic ability, how the character works. So obviously you have the swords and you have the pistols. Now, when you're on support pool, your pistols are your form of primary fire healing. When you shoot allies with the pistols, it heals them. And when you shoot enemies with the pistols, it deals damage. Kind of like Luna's Snow. And the healing looks pretty damn good, I'll be honest. It looks pretty quick. You cannot headshot your allies for more healing. It does the same amount whether you headshot or body shot. The swords deal damage, but you see that aura that's coming out of the swords? This means that if any allies were in that radius while you're dealing damage, you'll actually be healing them by dealing damage with the swords. So both your weapons have the ability to do healing. But basically what you want to do is when your teammates are brawling and close with the enemies, you want to be going in with the swords to get that AoE healing with the swords. And when you guys are just poking, you want to be with the guns doing the healing with the guns. Now let's get to the abilities. So when in gun form, you get your right click, which is the dagger throw or the sword throw, whatever, this ability. The way this ability works is when you throw it, it will do a spin, obviously a spin, and then it will come back to you, kind of like Psylocke shurikens. Now how it works is it's really good for lining up because it'll heal your allies as it goes through and heal them as it comes back, but it will also deal damage to enemies as it goes through them. So it's a really good tool when you have all the enemies and all your allies lined up in like a corridor, because you'll be able to hit all 5 allies with the right click and all 6 enemies with the right click if they're close enough. So that's like the best use of that ability. Your E is a circle aura that gives your allies healing, and when upgraded, I believe it gives your allies damage boost as well. So that's a really good ability to use. You have to make sure to be close to them because the circle is a little small, but it's really nice. It gives them area healing, it gives them damage boost when upgraded, and it lasts for a good amount of time. Then you have your space bar. Your space bar, again, this is an ability that all Deadpools have, but it works kind of differently for all roles. But let's see how it works for... I don't know exactly how it works for the support role, but let me test. Yes, so the way that the jump works on Deadpool is that you can jump off of walls, and it will not use the cooldown. So you can jump on a wall. Oh, well, it didn't do it there, but you can jump on a wall, and then you can jump again. Or not. Interesting. Wait, it doesn't seem to be doing it. Maybe support pool doesn't get it. Never mind. I don't know why it worked. It did work the first time. Okay, so no. Your spacebar is just a simple jump. Not really much. It's just a little mobility, something to get you to high ground. The only way to make it infinite is if you jump on your ally's head, which actually heals them, by the way. You could jump on ally's head to heal them, and it does not utilize the cooldown, which is kind of funny, but probably not that practical. Sword form. The right click is basically the same right click as you got for the other pools, except it's the same as it basically it will heal allies if you're in the radius of your teammates. And then finally you got the ultimate. The Q ultimate is his when you're holding the swords, the Q is his support ult. So when you click Q, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a support ult. You click it, and it spawns a healing circle around you. It'll heal allies. It gives you, I believe, a little movement speed buff on Deadpool. And it also, I believe, when upgraded, it will give damage boost as well. Now, when it comes to his gun ultimate, this is the same as the DPS pool and tank pool, where it will do the, what are you aiming at? So you click it, it actually still gives you a healing circle, but if this guy misses shots, I believe he takes damage for doing that. Yeah. So if basically when you click Q with the guns out on an opponent, it will spawn a healing circle for heal pool, and if that opponent shoots a gun or uses any abilities that do damage and it doesn't hit you, it will deal damage to them, basically. And that's how it works. So now I'm going to go quickly through the suggested upgrade path for heal pool. So I'll be honest, again, you know, I'll have to say, like, you know, excuse me, but I'm not entirely sure what the best upgrade path is. I'm going to go with what looks right. I believe the first thing I would get is probably either, I think that I'm just gonna go through what you shouldn't get. You probably shouldn't get the katana upgrade or the P-Woodnag, whatever this is called, pound. This ultimate is very niche and in general is not that good because it only affects one enemy. It doesn't affect all of them. The kick-ass katanas, you're going to be using your Desert Eagle pistoleros more often because that's your main form of primary fire healing. And I believe if you upgrade it, it will do more healing per shot, right? When you're playing support, it's really hard to go in with the katanas because you don't want to die, right? Good upgrades to get is going to be, I think, the E, the Desert Eagles, the Q is going to be very important because it upgrades your support ultimate, right? This is your main support ult. The right click on the sword might be good, and I believe the right click on the pistols are good. So let's start out with the Desert Eagle pistoleros. I'm not saying that that's the one you should get first, but I'm gonna just test it out here. So your guns become gold, and they might even fire faster, and it looks like they deal more healing per shot. Also, you'll notice every 4 shots, it will fire out this little bomb that does damage. Right? So that's what happens when you get the Desert Eagles up. You get more damage per shot against opponents. You get more healing per shots with allies. Also, that little bomb also does healing if it hits your allies. And you heal allies more. That's pretty much it. That's what you get when you upgrade that. Now I'm going to upgrade the right click. And I know how this works, right? So the right click works by when you throw the right click, instead of throwing it out once and coming back once, you do it 3 times. So you throw it out once, it comes back, throw it out twice, it comes back, throw it out 3 times, and it sticks there and blows up. This is pretty good because what you can do is you can activate the right click and then continue firing with your guns. So I'll throw it, I could shoot, and it'll just continuously throw it. So I don't have to stop. So that's really good to use because it'll give you 3 healing bursts, and then it will also give you 3 damage bursts. So you'll be dealing healing and damage at the same time, and then that explosion can deal a lot of damage. So it's a really good ability to upgrade first, in my opinion. The next one I'm gonna get is the E, and I think this is gonna be a good one because this, I believe, gives your allies damage boost now. I think it does, and it also makes the healing faster when you use it, and I believe it also makes the radius bigger. So in general, it just improves everything about the E, and it makes it like a very strong ability. Next, we're going to upgrade the final exam. So we're going to upgrade the F. Now, I think that should be one of the first ones you upgrade, honestly. These are these 4, in my opinion, for strategists are the main ones to get. But if I was going to do it in an order, I'd do right click first and then final exam. Then I would do Desert Eagle Pistoleros E, right click on the katana, right click here, and then get the katana, and then get the that's what I think is going to be a suggested upgrade path. I would suggest going to another video for heal pool because again, I'm not entirely sure on this one, but based on what I'm seeing, upgrade the right click, upgrade the ultimate, upgrade the E, the pistols, the right click on the katanas, and then the final Q, because this ultimate, ideally you're not going to be using it, right? So now let's test out the ultimate. So pull out the swords, ultimate, and look, it gives you incredibly fast burst healing, right? And if you hit your right clicks and stuff, once you get the trait, now it takes 7. It actually takes 7 ability triggers to actually get it. So maybe you might want to upgrade the... Let me get the right clicks. Let me see how it works on the support pool. Let me see. Yeah, so it's only 6 on support pool, right? So if you upgrade the right clicks, you get the little bouncies, but it only gives you 6. Maybe you should get that first, only because the way that you're going to get the second stage of your ultimate is by hitting those right clicks. So you know what? Forget what I said. Right click, both right clicks, ultimate, E, gun, sword, panog pound, whatever this is called, right? Get those 3 on the bottom first. These 2 first, because you need to be able to stack your ultimate. That's ideally what you're gonna do, because basically when your ultimate has 2 phases. You have the first initial burst phase, and then as you can see on the right, there's 0 out of 7. By hitting abilities, you stack that up, and what it'll do is it gives you a boost to your ultimate. And now look at the overhealth you get, and you give all this overhealth to your allies. So look at how much overhealth they get because of your ultimate. So it's really important to get to that second stage of your ultimate because it really gives you, it gives you a lot of burst healing. because it gives you that overhealth. So yeah, that's final answer. Both right clicks. Q, E, Desert Eagle pistol, swords, Pog Knife Pound. The upgrade for the swords, basically all the upgrade for the swords does is it allows you to headshot. So it allows you to deal more damage. So you see how I'm headshotting there? That's all it does. So it gives you more damage on the swords, right? That's what the upgrade to the katanas does. That's why I suggest it last, because it's like, the headshots are great, but you're not a damage dealer. You are a support character, right? So getting an upgrade to the swords is not like the biggest use, like the best use of your experience points. And then finally, the upgrade to the Q. The Q on your guns just makes it so that you do a little bit more burst healing with the ultimate's active, and you deal a little bit more damage to the bot when it misses shots. It's not that good, because why would you want to use that over the sword Q? That's why I suggest it last. It's just not good. There's no reason to use that ultimate over the sword ultimate. And that is the final review, my full review on the support pool. So now we're going to be moving over to the one that I'm the most experienced on, which is DPS pool. Okay, so now we are on DPS pool, and I'm going to be telling you guys what upgrade path and how all those abilities work, and what upgrade path is the best for DPS pool. And I know which one's the best for this character. This one is for sure. This is the best path. So, the difference between DPS pool and heal pool is that DPS pool does more damage per shot than heal pool. You can tell that it's doing more damage. He also has no healing abilities, but instead he gets basically all his imagine heal pool, but all his abilities return to damage, right? Same abilities, right? The right click with the sword throw, the right click with the dashes, the E with the area thing, right? Now the only differences are that his spacebar, his jump, you can jump off walls with this one and use it infinitely if you get it right. Or it's like you can do like 3 in a row before it uses your cooldown, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, and then that will use the cooldown, right? So you could do it 3 times, but if you don't do 3 in a row, if you do like 1 in a row and keep going like that, it's technically infinite. You can do it as much as you want, right? As long as you don't do it too quick. It depends how fast you do it, right? If you do it really quick, then it will burn the cooldown. But if you do it like slower, right? If you don't use it too aggressively, you can kind of just do it forever, right? So, and then you could do a little double jump, right? So this is that is exclusive to DPS pool. He's the only Deadpool that has basically infinite jumps if you do it right. Right, so it gives him extreme mobility, right? That's the idea. Number 2 is basically all of his abilities, instead of doing healing like heal pool, it does damage. So if you click E here around enemies, it will deal damage to them instead of healing allies, and it won't heal allies. The right click does more damage, right? And it will not heal allies. And all of his weapons just get more damage. So basically just everything that heal pool did, but no healing and more damage. So since that's pretty much it, you know, and then and then the Q is the same on his guns, where if you click an enemy, if they miss their shots, they'll take damage. Same as the heal pool, except you don't do the healing. And then with the katanas, it's again kind of the same thing, except you get an area of attack damage instead of an area of healing. And it gives you like damage boost and speed boost. It gives you just a bunch of aggressive things because, again, it's a DPS character. Now, let's move on to the most important part of DPS pool, which is the upgrade system. Absolute, guaranteed #1 upgrade, the right clicks on the katanas. This is the most important upgrade DPS pool can have, because it gives him the ability to infinitely right click. I could sit here and do this all day. Literally, I could do this all day because he never runs out. It's an infinite cooldown as long as you hit it in a row. This is the absolute #1 most important upgrade to get, because without this upgrade, it will only allow you to do 6, like the support pool, right? You can only do 6 in a row before you don't have it anymore. Very important upgrade to get. #2 upgrade is the right click on the shuriken, basically. This is absolutely #2 most important upgrade, because this is how you're gonna actually stack enough damage to get a kill. With how broken support is in this game, you need to stack as much damage as possible. So the combo for this character is going to be right click with the guns open, switch the swords, and then throw this. And as you can see, you throw the shuriken at the ground and it does crazy tick damage. And if there's a bunch of enemies in an area, it will do area damage. Very important to get, because if you leave it unupgraded, it'll only throw it once, right? But this is going to be your bread and butter. Right click here, E, and you'll deal a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage, right? And then upgrade 3, most important, final upgrade that is, in my opinion, the absolute most important, is the upgrade to the ultimate. The way this works is, when you have the ultimate unupgraded, again, you're only going to be using the ultimate in the sword form on Deadpool, right? On all the Deadpools, that's the case, right? So, unupgraded, the ultimate doesn't do that much area tick damage, if any, and it gives you 0 ability cooldown resets. However, when you upgrade it, what happens is, it will, first off, you'll do crazy area tick damage, right? Like Daredevil. And when you hit that, the jackpot, right? When you get all 5 out of 5 abilities hit, it will give you your cooldowns back. So the way you use this ultimate is you go in with the right click first on the guns, you switch the swords, you pop ultimate, you pop your E, and you go in with the right clicks on the sword form, right? The infinite dashes. And then once you get the ability, the ultimate's trigger, the jackpot, you switch back to the guns and you throw your right click again. And it gives you crazy burst potential. So you go like this, swords, ultimate E, and you go in right click, hit your right clicks, right? Now you throw in your right click again, you have your E back again, and you can go in again, and the tick damage is crazy, and the damage you get from the right click and the E stacks really quickly. And I was doing it slow there because I was trying to make sure that you guys could see everything I was doing, even though it was probably still a little bit difficult for you guys to tell. But if you don't have the upgraded ultimate, you will not get those ability cooldown resets, because the ultimate is unupgraded, right? So very important you get that. Finally, the rest of these are kind of just quality of life upgrades. I would take the katanas next, not the E, because the E on the duelist Deadpool is not that good. But being able to deal headshot damage, kills is incredibly important on the DPS pool. So being able to do headshot damage with your katanas to make your combo kill even quicker, very important. Then I would get the E, because you're never getting real kills with your guns. It's kind of like a very niche, just poke damage thing, kind of just to deal damage while you're in downtime. Then you get the guns second last, and then last is the upgrade to the Q on his guns. Because again, ideally you're not going to be using that Q, right? The only time, like, there's very niche scenarios where you would use that Q. And that's the suggested upgrade for DPS pool, right? When you upgrade the E, it gives you a little bit more damage boost, I believe, and a little bit more area tick damage, but it's not that important, right? The katana upgrade, where you do the headshots, is way more important, because you can do things like that. Very important to get the katana upgrade, in my opinion. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to be moving on to tank pool. And by the way, before I actually do that, I want to say I think DPS pool is the most powerful of all the Deadpools. Finally, we're going to be moving on to tank pool. So, a good amount of things actually changed with this. There's not too many differences between DPS pool and support pool, other than obviously the healing and damage are way different. But when you're playing tank pool, there's a couple things that change. So first things first, as you can notice, my right click is no longer the katana throw. It looks like a unicorn with 2 guns. So this is your tank ability, right? When you throw it, it puts out a little like Winston bubble shield that can protect your allies. Now, that shield is very weak. It's like it's got like invisible woman's shield health. It's really low, right? It's not got a lot of HP, and it's quite small. It's not that big, so it's not a great ability, to be honest with you. Second thing is your E, instead of doing damage now, it kind of gives you damage resistance. So it will give, I believe it gives your allies and you damage resistance when you're inside of it. So you'll take less damage when your E is happening. When you switch to the swords, you have the right click, but as you can notice, you only have 1. So you could do it 3 times and it's over. That's about it. You cannot do the multi-jump like DPS pool because tank pool is supposed to have less mobility, so you can only jump once. Nothing you can really do. That's pretty much it. And then the ultimate when you're using the guns is the same as all the other Deadpools. But the ultimate when you're using the swords, when you pop it, it will give you a bunch of overhealth, movement speed, and it will give you damage resistance. And it will give you damage resistance. And it will give all your allies damage resistance. So, it's a very good ultimate for running down opponents and keeping your allies alive. So, upgrade path for tank pool. In my opinion, the right click, the shield upgrade is pretty much completely useless. I would suggest to get this second last, other than the ban hammer, because it doesn't do anything, right? The shield is already pretty weak, and the upgrade to it doesn't really make it too much stronger. So this is the main reason why I think the tank pool is one of the worst Deadpool forms, if not the worst Deadpool form. Now, I know you guys have probably seen a lot of clips where tank pool is able to live 1v6 because his ultimate gives him incredible amounts of damage resistance and healing. But outside of the ult, you guys don't see what that tank pool is like outside of the ultimate. He really is not good outside of the ultimate. He's got very low HP for a tank, and the right click is the biggest problem. Is the sword, the right click that throws the katanas is just so much better than this bubble, especially since when you're trying to stack your ultimate, right, 0 out of 5, and you're trying to get it to 5 out of 5, you can't throw this right click to do damage to stack it, which is the biggest problem for me, because otherwise you have to make entirely sure that you hit all your right clicks, because again, you only get 6 when you upgrade it. So that's, first off, that's number 1 for me, is probably upgrade the right clicks so that your sword isn't completely useless. Don't upgrade the unicorn shield. It doesn't do anything. I know you're a tank, but this isn't going to help you anyway. It's really not that good. Upgrade number 2, I would say, is probably the E to give you more damage resistance. And then the ultimate. Then the katanas or the guns. The katanas or the guns. I also, there is one thing that I forgot to mention. The E, when you pop it, it does give you damage resistance, but it also increases your attack speed. So the E is very good. So I think the E is 100% an upgrade because it also gives you attack speed buff. So right click, E, ultimate, the big test ultimate, katanas or guns. It depends. This one I'd leave up to your discretion. If you feel better, if you feel like you're really good with the guns, I would get the guns, because when you use the guns, right, and you have the upgraded E, you can shred people. You can kill people really quick if you have good aim, right? Even to the body, you can kill people pretty quick with this E. Like, if you have good aim, that could be a really good combo, right? Otherwise, if you're more of a melee guy, like me, get the right clicks and upgrade the katanas. You click E, and your katanas also get an increased attack speed, so you can actually kill pretty quickly, even though you're a tank. But just, again, beware, you are very squishy. Your character model is bigger because you're a tank, and you don't have a lot of HP or survivability tools. So you got to be very careful when you're going in deep like that as tank pool. Especially since you don't have that much mobility either, because your space is limited to one jump. Then finally get the unicorn shield and then the banhammer. Now the unicorn shield upgrade does make it better. It's a bigger shield and it has more HP. But even then, in general, you saw how it disappeared there? That's because it got broken. The bots broke it. It's really weak. It does not have a lot of HP, right? And even if the bots weren't the ones who broke that, it's just really not that good. It doesn't last that much time, right? Now, I believe, based on what I'm seeing in the icon, it gives you damage resistance, but, I mean, it's just not that good. Now, let's get to the best part about Tank Pool, is the ultimate. Tank Pool probably has the strongest ultimate because of the survivability it gives you. So, you pop Q, and it'll give you overhealth, movement speed increase, and damage resistance. So, it already makes you a tanky beast, right? Then if you stack it, it gives you the, like, it's crazy. So let's go with it. Ultimate. E. Now I hit it and my ultimate goes up. Now, you'll notice my overhealth is dropping and nothing is really happening despite the fact that I just popped. You're like, what just happened there, right? You just got into the upgraded form of the ultimate and it looks like you lost your overhealth instead of gaining it. If you noticed, I got an icon, a effect around my character that looked like a blue shield, right? So I have a shield icon around me now, but when I hit the ultimate, the shield icon starts going crazy. You look at my HP. I'm getting shot, and my HP is regenerating really quickly. So, based on what I know, what happens when you get the upgraded version of the tank tank Deadpool ultimate, it gives you it gives you insane damage resistance and healing. So it starts healing you and giving you damage resistance out the so fast, it makes you nearly invincible. And it's an incredible tool. So it allows you to stay in as Tank Pool well after his initial ultimate is ended because of his incredible survivability. And it might also give a boost to your allies. I'm not entirely sure on that. But it might even give you a boost to your allies. But I have to say, I would, as a person who's played pretty much all the Deadpools except for the support one, DPS pool is much better by a lot, because the problem with Tank Pool is he's really not much of a tank presence unless he's using his ultimate. Now, if he has his ultimate, he's a tank presence because he's really hard to kill. But outside of the ultimate, this character dies really easily. He's big. He's got the lowest health in the game for a tank, right? And he doesn't. His shield, his only defensive item, it's not good. It's really bad, right? It disappears. So it's not that they broke it. It disappears so quickly that it's like it basically might as well not have it. And on top of that, you can't use it to stack your ultimate. So if you miss your right clicks, you don't get the secondary effect of your ultimate. It can be really bad. Now, a lot of people are going to say that, like, I'm wrong because they've seen the clips where Tank Pool is invulnerable. But again, you have to remember, that's because they had the secondary effect of their ultimate. I'm telling you, Tank Pool's ultimate is the best Deadpool ultimate. It's just every other bit of him is not good. Whereas DPS Pool is able to get kills whether he has his ultimate or not because his damage is so incredibly high. I'll tell you what would make Tank Pool really good is if his right click on his katanas had infinite, if you could do it infinitely like DPS Pool. That would make him actually competitively viable. But right now, I just don't think there's a reason to play Tank Pool over any of the other tanks right now. He's just, you would rather play one of the other two Deadpools. However, I'll tell you right now, the DPS Pool is the hardest to use. Final thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention at the start of the video is you might have noticed that I didn't go over the maximum flare passive. The way that maximum flare works is Deadpool has the fastest charging ultimate in the game, and it's not even close. Because the way that maximum flare works is it's a passive that when you hit abilities, it gives you incredible amounts of ult charge. So you guys might have seen in a Necros video, he showed you charging his ultimate in 2 seconds. That's real because you can. If you bounce on enemies' heads with your jump, you actually get a large amount of ult charge. So I'm going to try and charge my ult relatively quick. So I'm going to throw my right click. I'm going to click E. I'm going to jump on their heads. I'm going to go to the katanas and click right click on them. So right click. Oh, they had no HP. Well, as you can see, my ultimate. So you have to go through stages of his ultimate. But basically, let me go here. I just jumped on an opponent's head 5 times and I have my ultimate. And I didn't use anything else. I just jumped on their heads. And I gained my ultimate incredibly quick. Now, let me quickly use this ultimate and try and get it a bit quicker than that. I know you can get it really quick with the right clicks, right? Let me actually quickly... Let me quickly go over here to Gru, because that's a better way of doing it. Click Gru. Okay, it put me to C, but let me just show you anyway. Look at my ult. So now I have ultimate again. It's really quick. So maximum flare basically gives you a bunch of ult charge at once by simply hitting abilities. If you hit your right click in the gun form, it gives you ult charge. If you hit your E, it gives you ult charge. If you hit right clicks, it gives you incredible ult charge. And the most ult charge you can get is by bouncing on an opponent's head, which basically every time you jump on an opponent's head, it gives you 20% ult charge. That's basically it. And when you bounce on an opponent's head, it gives you 20% ult charge. And that's it. Anyway, so that's the final gimmick about Deadpool. He's an incredibly complex hero with a bunch of intricate details and an upgrade system. I don't entirely like the upgrade system, but you know what? It is what it is. My opinion, the ratings of strength go either a DPS pool or support pool are number 1 and 2, and tank pool is the worst, unfortunately. Anyway, thank you to those of you who stayed to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a good day.